Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials or any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
So server.port that we have to provide here the value. I will provide 8090. This is the port number which I have configured it. And after this port number configuration, so we mentioned the databases in memory, but where the H2 database will be there. So that is when I just go and run this application now. So it is it's set now. So initialize the Spring Data repositories, and Tomcat started on the port number of 8090, and Spring Data repositories are there. Yes. So where if you go here and check for localhost of 8090, we just given only the port number. So that is, there is no pages present. That's why it's giving a 404. But I want to access the H2 database. So it's a in memory we can access by using H2-console. But when we go with H2-console, already dependencies are there in our code. In our project, we added the dependencies, which is called, let me just open my dependencies. Yeah, you can see it's have a H2 database, but still I'm not able to access. Why we are not able to access? Because we have to set the properties which is required. That is, we have to mention it should be enabled. So for that again, so in the application or properties, we have to set the property which is Spring dot the in-memory database Spring h2 dot console enable true. By default, it will be false. So after enable the Spring dot h2 console enabled, when we go and run this now, we are able to access the console 8090 of H2 console. You can see now we are able to get here the console. And now I don't give a password and all, I'll just give a connect. But when you see here, it is saying test not found. That is, we have to configure which database we are going to use it. What is the properties we want to configure it. So that is, this is the JDBC URL. Every time property changes, like we have to stop our server because the Spring Boot will not auto restart a server. For that, we have to use other dependencies, which is called DevTools. Later, I'll add that. So now we have to configure the database properties. So which is Spring Data Source dot URL. Username is SCA is by default username. And what is the password which you want to give it? Password which is SC. So this is what the properties which we have written. And I want to show the database which is running, or what's the SQL queries will be executed in the console. So for that, Spring, which is a JPA properties, Spring JPA dot properties of Hibernate dot show SQL, which is true. So it will give which are all the properties or what is the SQL queries are running. So let us just go and execute this code now. We are able to see it is always in the create mode, so that is it will delete the tables which are exist, because as we are using in-memory database, and after that the tables are getting created, which is it's created the department table which have department number, dname and location underscore L code. It's given the column as location underscore L code, then EID, and then bonus, date of joining, e-name, salary, and then department underscore department number, job underscore job code. Whenever the foreign keys which is creating, like in our table, like in our entity what we have created here, we created as a job. So when you see here how the column got created, which is job underscore J code, what is the primary key which is present in the job entity? It's took as a column name, which is job underscore J code. For suppose I don't want this column name should be designed like this. So we want to give our own column name itself, so that we can mention it here, join column. I want the join column as J code for the employee. So same way, I will refer here for this in the department, whatever the primary key we have it, which is department number, that department number, I'll use it here. So now you can see in the employee, it capture here now as a column name, which is department number and J code. So first the table got created. After that, we are getting here what is the foreign keys, that is department add constraint. It's added the location code as a foreign key and employee as a foreign key. For the employee, we have a department number and J code as a foreign key. So for suppose if you're not providing any mappings here, so then we will be ending up with a error. So that is, we have to mention what is the relationship between that class and the another entity. So that relationship should be given. So that's what here you can see now. We have not got any SQL queries, which is only just given the information. The it is started with the 8090 with the context part. So let me just go to the console. And now we are able to access with the SC and SA what is the username and password we have given. So we can see there is no tables got created here. There is no tables got created because as we don't have any mapping relationship, so that's why it has not created the tables here. So that is, we should have it here, the relationship. Now you can see we got all the tables here, which is department, employee, job, and the location. So that is location L code. So that is, you can just click on this location. You can run it here. See, the table got created, but there is no record. But whenever you run your project, at the same time, you have to insert some records also to check your application. You can insert the records also. In the SRC main resources, you can create a new file which is called data.sql. So here we can write any statements which you want to write the SQL statement, which is insert into location values like L code is a string. I just written one SQL statement. So after that, we'll just run this file. Means we'll run this code. See, the location record also got inserted. Basically, to work with your executions. So if you want to send your data also when you're running your application, when you're bootstrapping your application, some data should be inserted so that you can prepare the data.sql and can send the records here. Okay, so this way we will be configured here all our entities. So are you clear with all these entities?
Yes.
In the job, if you see, we have written one to many and mapped by. Let me just remove the mapped by. I will just make it one to many and just see now what will happen. Whenever we write one to many or many to many, it always provokes to create a new table. It will create a new relationship table. You can see here now how many tables got created. We got department table, employee table, job underscore employee table. It will take the primary key from both the entities, so job code and the employee's ID. So both will be taken and it will be created the new relationship table. But as we don't want a new relationship table should not be present for it, so that what we can do it, we will inform to the Hibernate, that is, we are informing to the session factory whenever you look for this, already this is mapped by somewhere else with a name called job. That is in the employee. It will be there in your employee entity. When you go to employee entity, it is already mapped with many to one of job. So that same job here, we got it now. So this way we are going to create or work on the entities. I just took four different entities to work on this. So for the relationships. So this is what how we are working with respect to entities. Are you clear with the entities?
Yeah. Can you open that application.java class once just to see the calls?
Which one?
Spring Boot web employee application.java.
One second. Nothing is there here. It's only a run application. That is, we have a Spring Boot web application which have annotated with Spring Boot application. It have a
Okay.
main method because either you work on web application or standalone in the Spring Boot, everything will contain a main method. So this will start your application run, Spring application dot run method, and whatever the class name you have created, that class will be loaded to the run method and args. If you are going with a command line application, like standalone, we'll use implements command line runner, like as we worked on previous days, like in the previous session.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, implements command line runner. But when it is a web application, we don't need to write it because we will be configuring the controllers. So I just going layer by layer. So we just discussed about the Hibernate or JPA and with the entities how we are going to work on. Is it clear? So now let me just take here some JPA repositories and all, so that I'll take here first getters and setters to get it. And there is a thumb rule that is always entity should have a default constructor. I'm just taking a toString method. I'm just adding the constructor here. Just last one. Just made my all entities. So that's what all my entities got created. So then how will you write your DAO layer? So that is, we can create here the interface. DUs. So that is, I will make it here employee repository. Repos. So that is, how will you make this interface to work with your repository? So that is, we make the annotation as a repository, and then we will use it here extends. So depends on what operations you want to do it, that particular repositories we will be calling here. JPA repository, which have a employee and ID is a integer data type. So just have to import the employee. So the same way, whatever the other repositories which you want to create it. So like we'll make another interface which is job repository. So in the job, what is the primary key data type we just do, which is integer. location repository. For location, we have taken here the string as a primary key. So that as a location here. And then another one which we have it as a department. So just importing the department, and in the department, what is a primary key data type, which is ID, which is integer only. So we'll just make it here the integer. So all my repositories are available now. So that is all our DAO layer code or the repository layer code which we have taken. So now, how will you work with the like service? You already know it's a normal Java code which you will keep all your conditions or the business logic. So then now here we want to make it as a web application. So now I'm not taking as a view. We don't want a view. We want to send our data as a JSON format. That is, two applications should interact it here. So that is, one application is you're sending a data, which is maybe like here for us, it's a Spring application. So then you may be working on the another front end which is Angular or Vue or React, anything, right? So that is you want to decide or design your application in the REST architecture style. So that is you have to apply the uniform interfaces and cacheable or client server or layered architecture. So we already made it here the layered architecture. So now we want to go with the REST API. So that is how will you go with the REST API. So to work with the REST API, we have a JAX RS library. We have a JAX RS library. By using this, we have a JAX RS using Jersey. Jersey is a one implementation to work with the REST application. So that is in the web container. We already added the web project or the web Spring Boot library here, which will contain all the details which is required for us. So that is, we are using here all the stereotype annotations. If it is a Spring layer, we will use it as a components. As it is a Hibernate layer or the entities, we are making here the annotation with entity, which is not a part of a Spring, which is part of a Hibernate. Then in the repository, we made it the type of either you can go with JDBC or you are going with the Java. So that is in the Hibernate. So we are using here JPA repositories to take in care all your CRUD operations. All the repositories are ready. So now we want to give the data as a REST API. So to work with this, so that is we require a Jersey libraries or we require the JAX RS by using a Jersey, or we have something called REST Easy. So there are different libraries are there to work with the REST application, right? So as here we are taking care of a REST, so that is it will be required the configuration code, but already the Spring Boot will taken care of all your configuration. You no need to do any configurations. So that is here we'll create another layer, which is I will make it here employee controller. So how this employee controller will be working? So it's a Spring Boot application. We just started with the Spring Boot application itself. So in the Spring Boot application or in the Spring application, everything will be identified by using what is the type of a stereotype annotation which you are using. It will treat repository, it will take it as service if it's doing business logic. Then how will you enable the controller, or how this code will be working? Whenever you go with the Spring MVC application, let me just take any architecture diagram. So the normal MVC is, so every request will be coming to your controller, and the controller will be delegate your response to model and then again to the view. So that is this the simple or the proper diagram. Yeah. So here with the Spring MVC, we have, it is enabled with one design pattern, which is called front controller design pattern. What is this front controller design pattern? So which will be created only one controller, which taken care of your request and responses. So that is the front controller. The front controller, it's a design pattern which control or handles all the requests for a website. Whichever the website you have created, for all the requests will be handled by this. So which is useful when you structure of a web application, developer will achieve the flexibility and reuse without the code redundancy. So that is basically a front controller design pattern. So that is the front controller will be a single handler for all kinds of requests coming to the web application. The dispatcher servlet will do the two jobs. That is, it will do the dispatching a request and it will do the view resolver. Let me just take a paint to explain this. So here is your application. You may be having different controllers, and you may have a view or model, anything. Excuse. You may have repos, any data will be there. So we are not exposing all this controller to our client. We will have the one design pattern. So that is, we will have only one controller who is responsible to take what is the request for each controller. So that is, whatever the request you are getting from the client, each request will be taken to this, and this front controller will be exposed to the client, and it will see here, okay, this request is mapped to this controller, and then this controller will give the response to, or the controller internally call the services, and services will call the repos, and entities will be built, and it will return the reply here. So that is basically the front controller design pattern. So the front controller design pattern will do the two jobs. One is handle mapper or handle mapping, and view resolver. View resolver. It will do the handler mapping and it will do the view resolving job. So that is, what is this handler mapping? That is, whenever the request is coming here, it will look for where the mapping is available for this particular type of request. That is the first job. Like for suppose you are sending here the request which is called login. It will check here, the front controller will be looking to, okay, where is the handler mapping for the login, and where is the handler mapping for sign up, what type of request you are sending.
To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the 399 plan and grow your skills immensely.
So all this will be configured in the controller. So then when the controller will send back the request, if the view is present, it will look it will take a help of view resolver. Okay, what view you are looking into, what view you are looking into. So that view resolver will be taken care again for this particular request. The controller will send, okay, this is my response. Then this will be go to the view page, and in the view, with the help of view resolver, it will look which view is responsible to do the job of this. So that will be taken care by your handler, front controller. Front controller basically do the two job, which is handler mapping and the view resolver. So the front controller is a one J2E design pattern, which is a single handler for all kinds of requests coming to the request. So in that you have a dispatcher and the view. Dispatcher is the front controller may use the dispatcher object to dispatch the request to the controller or to corresponding specific handler. The handler mapping will be taken care. Then the views are the objects for which requests are made. So that way the front controller will be designed. So here, as we are working with a Spring Boot MVC, that is, as we are working with the starter which is called Spring Boot Web, or if you're working with a library of Spring Web, so we have one predefined front controller which is called Dispatcher Servlet. Dispatcher Servlet. Dispatcher Servlet is a class which is responsible to do the front controller job, handler mapping and the view resolver. If you are working with only Spring Boot application, if you are working with only Spring Boot without boot, only Spring Web application, you have to configure the dispatcher servlet. You have to configure the dispatcher servlet. The dispatcher servlet will send the request, or it will taken care of handler mapping, okay, where the controller is present. Then it will look for the view resolving also. But as Spring Boot you are working on, Spring Boot Web Starter, it will be configured internally the dispatcher servlet. We no need to configure the dispatcher servlet because, as I said, Spring Boot is a Spring Framework minus configuration. We no need to do the dispatcher servlet configuration. When we add the Spring Boot Web Starter, it will do the auto configuration for you. Yes.
Shweta, one question. If we're using Angular as a front end and there are a lot of microservices in the backend,
Okay.
so what is the pattern used there? Front controller or MVC?
No. There it is a API gateway. Whenever it is only for one application. Okay. This is a one microservice. So the same way, you will have a multiple services. Then you want to make only front one end, one entry point for your application, so that you will make it here for all the services, one API gateway. This API gateway will take each and every request, and it will look, okay, this request, which service should be taken care.
So do we have multiple controllers even in a single service?
Multiple application controllers will be there, but only one front controller. Front controller is always one.
Yeah. Uh, so, so if we generate a controller directly from a YAML file, uh, what is that? Is that a front controller or that is application controller? That is application.
That is application controller.
So we can have multiple application controllers as such.
Yes, we can have multiple application controllers,
Okay.
but only one front controller. Yeah, I'll just show it to you. I'll take one Spring application, then I'll come to the Spring Boot. Okay, then you'll understand better. Let me just import it. Just take a simple one. See, whenever we go with a without Spring Boot, I'm taking here. Okay, it's a Maven project. So I have the all the dependencies which is required. So that is as we are working with a web project, so we require a servlets and we require a JSP, all these things. Then in the Spring framework libraries we have used and loggers and Hibernate, all these jar files are available. It's okay. So where when you go with this, we have one controller we created. It's a Spring application, not a Spring Boot. Okay. It's a simple Spring application. So whenever you go with the Spring application, so you have to configure the like what is the entry point for your web applications in Java. So that is you will have a web.xml. You will have a web.xml, which is the entry point for your application. In the web.xml, you have to configure the servlet, which is a servlet which we are working on, which is dispatches servlet. This is a servlet which we have to configure if you're working only Spring, not the Spring Boot. Okay, without the Spring Boot, if you are doing, you have to configure.
I lost the audio. I think.
Yeah, your voice is
You are
gone.
not audible.
Yeah.
We can't hear you, Shweta. I think we lost the audio.
I think she's not able to hear us.
I think yes. What to do? What to do? What to do?
Hello, hello, hello.
Report audio issues. Maybe we can call on our phone.
Do the honors, Kavya. करो.
Yeah,
What's
I'm
the
calling
number
her.
है ना?
Somebody created a group,
Yes.
right?
हाँ वही वाला.
Should we?
श्वेता.
Hmm. Add to contacts. So let me take the call. अरे,
Java. Not receiving.
Okay. No, she got it. Hi guys.
Hello. She told a lot of things, I think, before we could hear.
Yeah.
I
That
tried
time
calling
she's telling me.
her and phone was busy.
I also called her. It was ringing for
Oh,
me.
I think she joined.
Am I audible now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't see your messages also.
We were trying to reach you on the phone.
Okay, sorry. Where we last?
In web.xml.
Okay. So in the web.xml, we will configure the dispatcher servlet, either if you go with XML way of configuration. If you go with Java-based way of configuration, then we have to create the class for this. Okay. So that is, here we have a servlet, so which is a dispatcher servlet should be configured. And our Spring containers, which is our bean file should be loaded for our container. So for that, inside of where is the location of your XML file that you have to give it. So always as it is a web project, our resources should be inside of a web INF. So that is inside of web INF, we have a MVC config.xml. So that's what here web INF of MVC config.xml we have written. So then this MVC config.xml, we have configured it here, like what is the beans.xml we are writing, and the component scan, which is it's a mixture way. The component scan we are mentioning, this is the package to scan it. And it should be enabled with annotation. So we are using MVC annotation driven. So this is what our XML file with the Spring project, which is not Spring Boot. Okay. So where your hello controller is sending some request. So request handler methods here we are writing. So whenever any request come to this, first it will take into web.xml, the dispatcher servlet will be taking the request and it will send the request to the MVC config.xml. Here it will look for, okay, there is a component scan called controllers. So it will go and scan in this package. Do we have any request called greeting? Do we have any request with the greeting.html? Because in the web.xml, we have written URL pattern as anything, but it should be ended with a .html. So if you send a request which is greeting.html, this is the method, request handler method. Your dispatcher servlet will send the request to this. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So by default slash greeting is HTML.
It is not by default, that is we have configured this request mapping, we have sent it to greeting. So but the request we are sending in the web.xml is it should be in the format of HTML, any name but .html. Here only one method we have written, so this will be taken here a request, and this request is sending one response which is called string, returning a string. String means, so whenever you have a controller which have a annotation called @controller, which always look for the view, which always look for the view. It will look for the view. So where the view, so again this request will be sent to your dispatcher servlet. Dispatcher servlet will look for what is the view which is available. Here we can write hello.jsp or hello.html. But why this way is not preferred? Because if I made this, tomorrow if I want to change my view, I can't maintain this code. Because in the controller, I have to come and change my extension. Like if I'm going with .jsf or if I'm going with xhtml. So every time whenever I want to do changes of my extension, I have to do my code rewritten because I have to compile it and again I have to decompile my project again, have to change the code and compile it. But I don't want that. So what Spring MVC say? Spring MVC say we have one view resolver. So that is you send any type of a request, but I will configure what is the prefix and suffix should be given for you. So that is the one predefined bean which is called internal resource view resolver. Internal resource view resolver is the a predefined bean which is to map your resources. That is, we have that there is the two parameters in this, which is prefix and suffix. As it contains the setter methods, we are going with the property tag, which is setter injection. So that is the prefix. And what is the prefix? Which is webinf/view. And suffix is .jsp. Now, if you want to change your view from the .jsp to HTML or to JSF, anything, you no need to change it in any class files. So where your views are present, your views are present in webinf inside of view folder. You just delete this JSPs and give a XHTML or JSF any code. Only in this place you have to change it, JSF. So that is you are centralizing your view extensions and the view prefix. So that's where the internal resource view resolver will be taken care of your job. So that is here now. When you go and execute this code, so your view resolver will always, when it is returning a view, when controller is returned a view, it will configure this as a code. That is webinf/view.view slash what is the request you have sent it. That is in the hello controller, it's written the string called hello so that it will be sending here hello.jsp. So this is what the Spring application or Spring MVC application will be doing. So where this much configuration, why I should do it? So why I should do all this configuration? Instead of we doing all this configuration, so it is all the auto configuration will be taken care of our Spring Boot. So that's what here the Spring Boot is. First, let me just add the server here to show the Spring Web MVC code. I just added the external server because it is not a boot project. It is a Spring Web MVC. So let it reload. So that is when you go with here, the Spring MVC, we have to configure dispatch a servlet and load the config file or load the config file. So either if you go with XML or in the Java way. So where you have to configure the internal resource view resolver. So dispatcher servlet will take a request and then dispatcher servlet will dispatch your request from the front controller, that is the controller. So it will dispatch it to the proper controller and which classes have the controller annotation. The dispatcher servlet can send the request only to the controller specification, and in that it will look for the request mapping. So what is the request mapping which you are sending? Like here in the code which we have written, it is taking a request for a greeting. So if you send a greeting request, so greeting will be taken. The same way, I can write one more method for hello. I can write one more method for hi. So any number of request mappings can be written in a one controller. So that request mapping will be sent some response and that response will be view. As if you're writing a controller, it always look for the view. The view resolver is configured. The view resolver have a two properties which is prefix and suffix. As it is a properties, we have to configure either in the setter injection or either in the constructor injection. So that's what here which we have did. All this configuration we have to do it. And when we click to enter, so it is saying no mapping found for Spring Web MVC show message.html because we don't have any show message.html request. So because what is the request which we are sending here? Greeting.html. You can see when we send greeting.html request, we are getting welcome to Spring MVC and what is today's state. So that is in the hello controller, this is the request mapping for the greeting and we have written here say hello, which to send the data from your controller to view, we are created one model object. So model dot add attribute. It will be added to your model. So which is have the two values. One is birth date and one is greeting. The greeting have a message called this and the birth date have a current date. And it is returning to hello. So your MVC config will look for the what is the internal resource view resolver and it will send a request to hello.jsp inside the views. So in the hello.jsp page, we are printing the greeting and the birth date by using the expression language and that's what here we are getting. So this is the flow for your Spring MVC application. So now if I want to go with a Spring MVC application, yes, this is the way which we have done. But I want to go with a Spring Boot, then what are all the other things which we can take in care? That is, the configurations can be reduced. Are you clear with the Spring MVC? Are you clear with the Spring MVC?
I'm a bit lost, not understanding much today.
Okay, let me just do it here so that you quickly will make it one simple Spring application itself. For this, I'll just take a Maven project. So let it build. Within that time, I'll just get the dependencies which is required. I'm just adding all the dependencies. Okay. I just added the dependencies which is required here. And I'll add the server for this. So we have to add the Apache Tomcat or any web server or application server, which we have to add it for our project. Okay. So that's what here. Still the project is getting built at. I'll just wait for 2 more minutes. Yeah. So it's all building here the project. Okay. So once the project got built, so that is we have to go with here. I have to create the folder which is src main Java. It's taking some time to build the workspace. So what is happening here when you are sending any request? So you are sending one request here. Okay. So that request should be going to one front controller. So we have to configure here front controller. Either you can configure by using a XML way or you can configure by using a Java way. Okay. Any configuration you can do it. So for the Spring. So that's what we discussed in the previous session. So this is now as a front controller. The front controller which is already available in the Spring framework is Dispatcher Servlet. How will you configure the servlet in your Java application? Do you have an idea?
Oh, I have not worked with servlets.
Okay. Yeah. Either we'll annotate it with @web servlet. Okay. The annotation way. Or we will configure the servlet tag. It is a one tag which is available. Okay. So servlet is a one tag that we have to map it. So the servlet will take what is the name of a servlet. So which will be have a tags which is servlet.
Please enroll our general membership for $399 plan to get access of all the parts.
Along with that, you can access our other tutorials such as Docker, Ansible, Jenkins, Terraform, Splunk, AWS, Azure, and various other DevOps related premium tutorials with our channel membership. If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the $399 plan and grow your skills immensely. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.